Right now, you're probably planning a trip without even thinking about it. Maybe you're checking directions on your phone, booking a flight, taking a bus across town, or simply wondering what life is like in another country. It feels completely normal. But the strange part is that traveling across the world is one of the oldest things humans have ever done. It's older than farming, older than cities, older than writing, even older than the pyramids, long before maps existed, before roads, before ships, and before anyone knew what waited beyond the next mountain. Ancient humans were already leaving home. The question is, when did they start traveling around the world? To answer that, we have to go back to a time when the entire human population could have fit inside a modern sports stadium. Around 300,000 years ago, the earliest known Homo sapiens lived in Africa. For a very long time, they stayed there. Not because they couldn't leave, because they didn't need to. Africa already had forests, rivers, grasslands, animals to hunt, and plants to gather. If food disappeared in one place, they simply moved somewhere nearby. Life was local. But here's the thing. The climate never stays the same forever. During the Ice Age, huge changes in rainfall and temperature transformed entire landscapes. Forests became open grasslands. Lakes appeared, then disappeared. Animals migrated. Humans had a choice: stay or follow the food. Most followed. At first, these weren't epic expeditions. Families simply walked, a few miles one season, a few more the next. Then another generation continued even farther. Nobody woke up saying, let's discover Asia. They were just trying to survive until tomorrow, and that's what makes this story so fascinating. According to archaeological evidence from sites like Jebel Faya in the United Arab Emirates and genetic studies led by researchers including David Reich, modern humans began leaving Africa in significant numbers roughly 60,000 to 70,000 years ago. Not in one giant migration, in thousands of tiny steps. Think about that. The greatest journey in human history may have looked more like a really long walk. Once they crossed into the Middle East, something incredible happened. They kept going. Some groups traveled along the southern coastline of Asia, following beaches rich with fish and shellfish. Others moved inland through forests and valleys. Generation after generation, they spread farther than anyone before them. No maps, no compasses, no idea what waited ahead. Just curiosity and empty land. Well, mostly empty. Because humans weren't alone. Europe was already home to Neanderthals. Asia had mysterious relatives like the Denisovans. For thousands of years, these different human species met each other. Sometimes they competed. Sometimes they traded knowledge. Sometimes they had children together. Scientists discovered this only recently by analyzing ancient DNA extracted from fossils, work pioneered by geneticist Svante Pääbo, who later received the Nobel Prize. Which means, if you're alive today, there's a good chance tiny pieces of those ancient humans are still inside your DNA. That's a pretty weird family reunion. But here's what makes this so important. Ancient humans weren't just spreading across the world, they were transforming it. Every new environment demanded new ideas. Cold climates required warmer clothing. Dense forests required different hunting techniques. Coastlines encouraged fishing. Open plains favored long-distance tracking. Every journey became a giant experiment. The people who adapted survived, the people who usually didn't get another chance. Around 50,000 years ago, humans somehow crossed open water to reach Australia. Let that sink in. Even at the lowest sea levels of the Ice Age, they still had to travel across stretches of ocean. Nobody knows exactly what those boats looked like. Wood rarely survives tens of thousands of years. But they made it, which means humans learned how to build watercraft far earlier than many people once believed. Imagine standing on a beach, looking at an island you can barely see on the horizon, and deciding to sail toward it anyway. That's confidence, or incredible optimism. Maybe both. Then came Europe. By around 45,000 years ago, modern humans were spreading across a continent filled with freezing winters. They invented needles from animal bones, tailored clothing, better shelters, more advanced hunting weapons. Survival became innovation. Innovation became culture. Then came art. The stunning cave paintings of places like Chauvet Cave in France show that wherever humans traveled, they carried something besides tools. They carried imagination. Thousands of years later, another impossible challenge remained: the Americas. For decades, scientists debated exactly when humans first arrived. Today, evidence from sites such as White Sands National Park in New Mexico suggests people were already there over 20,000 years ago, possibly even earlier than researchers once thought. Whether they walked across the ancient land bridge known as Beringia or traveled along the Pacific coast is still debated. But one thing isn't. Eventually, humans reached almost everywhere: deserts, rainforests, mountains, frozen tundra, tiny islands in the middle of enormous oceans. No other species had ever done anything like it. So here's the full picture. Around 300,000 years ago, modern humans evolved in Africa. Around 70,000 years ago, many began leaving in waves. They spread across Asia, reached Australia, entered Europe, mixed with other human species, adapted to every climate they encountered, eventually reached the Americas. And over thousands of generations, those countless small journeys connected every continent on Earth. So the next time you check a map, board a plane, or dream about visiting another country, remember, you're continuing a tradition that began tens of thousands of years before roads, passports, or even history itself. Because humans have always wondered what was beyond the horizon. And maybe that's one of the things that truly made us human. If you enjoy exploring the stories hidden inside everyday life, like this video, and subscribe as there are plenty more waiting to be uncovered.